Okay, hello YouTube. Today we're going to talk about schizoaffective disorder and just what exactly it is and what it's like to live with it. I've been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder now for about 10 years. Probably actually had it for about 20 years. Got it when I was in my early 20s. I kind of, if I looking back, I can realize that everything about me kind of changed over like a 2 month period. My personality and my habits, my choice of friends, my everything. Uh, all right, let's not get sidetracked here. Schizoaffective disorder, what exactly is it? Well, schizoaffective disorder is basically a combination of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. People with schizoaffective disorder tend to do better than people in the long run than people with full-blown schizophrenia, but tend to do worse than people with just bipolar disorder. Again, it's both a thought disorder, schizo, and a mood disorder, affective. So you have it's kind of a double whammy. It can be a lot to deal with at times. Fortunately, like I said, I've been in treatment now for about 10 years. I see a psychiatrist every 2 weeks. I see a psychologist every 2 weeks. And I have a therapy group that I attend the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, which is for people with schizospectrum illnesses. And, these things, they're great help because, my parents aren't, I wouldn't say they aren't supportive, but my mom was a nurse, so she kind of has an idea, but she tends to kind of live in denial a little bit. And my dad, he's kind of, he's just doesn't know what to do. He's just like, oh boy, just don't hurt us. But, schizoaffective disorder, it can be controlled. I am on medication, quite a bit of medication to control it. And, it works well. For the most part, I've had, excuse me, I haven't had to be hospitalized or anything for probably the last 2 years, which is a good thing, and I have had one extended hospital stay, but usually when I go to the hospital, I'm in and out the next day. They'll pipe me full of benzodiazepines and antipsychotics and knock the crazy right out of me. But, you know, again, it's kind of, it can be tough at times to deal with, but, you kind of take the good with the bad and, you work hard, I work hard every day to live with it, and I do pretty well. I'm very high functioning. I'm also very intelligent, which I think kind of helps because, I do a lot of research. I know the disease pretty well. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of mental illnesses, and that helps. It helps me kind of be able to not diagnose and treat myself, but to kind of have a better insight into what's actually happening to me. And when I have an episode where I don't, all of a sudden it's not like a snap of the fingers where I blink my eyes and all of a sudden I'm batshit crazy. It comes on usually over like a week. I'll start to feel weird. Usually the first thing that happens is my sleep habits will change. Like I'll either sleep all day at night or I won't sleep at all. And, I start to hallucinate. I'm fortunate in the fact that my hallucinations over the years they basically consist of noise. It's like being in a room with 100 people and everybody's talking at once, but you can't understand what anybody's saying. And also a lot of banging and clapping noises. I'm fortunate I don't hear voices or have voices telling me to hurt myself or to do things or to do other people. Jesus doesn't come to me through the TV or anything like that, fortunately. So, Usually I can tell when it's coming on, and it's like a lot of dealing with it too is doing reality checks. Like I'll, you know, if I'm sitting upstairs, I had to move back in with my parents when all this went down because I can't be on my own. I need somebody to kind of keep an eye on me because I do kind of get a little bit reckless and out of control at times. So I need some checks and balances in place, and it also helps my parents out a lot because they're older now and they need help doing normal stuff around the house. And basically, when I do have an episode, like I said, I get a little bit strange. I start to talk about weird things that don't make sense. Like string theory and polyfractal nominals and things like that. That just people just look at me and they're like, "Oh my goodness, Jiminy Crickets, here we go." But I don't get violent. I don't get. When I was younger, I used to self-harm and get very self-destructive, but I don't do that anymore. I think with all the therapy I've been through has kind of helped me get over that and get through that. I haven't self-harmed in probably 7, 8 years now, and that's a good thing. But never had any suicide attempts. Felt suicidal plenty of times, but never actually had an attempt. Um, let's see what else. Oh, okay. So that I talked a bit about the schizo part of it. Now we'll talk about the affective part of it. When I was younger, I used to usually swing to the depressive side. I went through a long stretch where I was just severely depressed. Just to get out of bed and take a shower it was like asking the world of me. Just to do that every day, and it lasted, like I said, for quite a while. Excuse me. But now over like the last couple of years, I go the other way. I get manic. I don't get full blown dancing in the streets manic, but I get hypomanic. Where I have a lot of energy. I talk really fast. I kind of like to put it as I think. I get racing thoughts. Instead of thinking in full sentences, I kind of think in phrases. It's kind of like the ADHD dog, where he's like, "Oh, squirrel," and so usually I can tell when that starts to happen, and I can get in touch with my doctor and do whatever he suggests that I do at that time. And usually it's just a change in medication for a week or two, just till things even out, and then we go back to the normal dosage again. And maybe an office visit and stuff like that. But like I said, I am lucky. My illness is pretty well managed. I have a good mental health team. A good psychiatrist, a good psychologist, two good therapists. It's really good. I'm actually my psychologist that I've been seeing for the last 10 years. Just left the practice that she was in, so I'm starting Wednesday with a new psychologist, which will be very interesting because I really liked my old psychologist, and I'm really sad that she left. And she did a lot for me, helped me out a lot, and hopefully I will be able to fit right in with this new psychologist and pick up where we left off, kind of hit the ground running. But if not, we'll have to shop around and find somebody that I feel comfortable with. But I'm pretty easygoing, so I'm sure I'll probably get along okay with this new doctor. Um, let's see. Again, just something out there to everybody, whoever may watch this. If you are struggling with mental illness and you're afraid of the stigma that comes with it, or you're just afraid they're going to lock you away in a hospital forever. Like they don't do that anymore. They're give you a lobotomy or electroconvulsive therapy, stuff like that. Electroconvulsive therapy, it still takes place more than you'd think, actually. But it's only in extreme cases. It's not going to be their first step. If you are struggling, get help. Talk to a doctor, talk to a therapist, talk to a counselor, talk to a social worker. call a hotline, find an internet support group, or, I think it's best if you do it in person, though, so you can get one-on-one consultation and get the help that you need. There's no reason to suffer through this. It can be, like I said, it can be managed. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. The medications that they give you, they have side effects, and, they're not very pleasant a lot of times, but, there's a lot of different medications nowadays and a lot of different therapies, and, hopefully, if you are having problems, and you are diagnosed with a mental illness, hopefully they can find a medication combination that works well for you with minimal side effects. I'm very fortunate because I'm very tolerant to drugs. I don't really suffer any side effects other than sedation. But again, I take enough Seroquel to knock a horse out, so, it does usually knock me out when I take it, which is, that's another way I know when I'm getting hypomanic, when my medication doesn't put me to sleep, because I take Seroquel, and I also take clonazepam, and I take mirtazapine, all three, which are sedatives. They put you to sleep, and when they're not putting me to sleep, then there's a problem. So, but I think that's a brief summary. I'm going to make another video where I get a little more in depth into it. I just wanted to do this as an introduction. This is a new channel. I'm just starting. Hopefully it'll be quite active. I plan to, 3 to 5 posts a week, hopefully. About all mental illness, about life in general, things like that. Trug does life. That's what I want it to be. If you have any questions or criticisms or critiques or helpful advice or anything like that, feel free to put it in the comments. Please try to keep it constructive. And then being a jackwad doesn't help anybody. Let's try and do this. Let's try and get a little community going that we can, all feel safe and all work together to make our lives better. Because, you don't realize, life is, it can be great. I'm fortunate right now. I'm in a really good place, and it's really worth living, and there's no reason why you should suffer needlessly when there are solutions. And like I said, there is still a stigma that goes with mental illness. I'll get more into that in another video, but it's the pros outweigh the cons. You need to get yourself right. You need to get yourself better, before you can move on. Looks like we're at about 13 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Again, feel free to hit up the comment section, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's, like I said, let's try and start a community here where we can all, work with each other and help each other, and make our lives maybe a little bit better. Alright, well, until we meet again, Trug out.